Hi everyone, welcome to Suresh Techs. If you are visiting our channel for the first time or if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to Suresh Techs. So in our previous tutorial we looked at HTML concepts, all the basic concepts we have covered so far. We covered HTML basics. So we covered HTML elements, attributes, headings, paragraphs, styles, text formatting, quotation citations, comments, colors, styles, links, tables, classes, IDs, iframes, and then file paths. We looked at almost all the different concepts available in HTML, and in this tutorial we will look at HTML forms. So what do you mean by a form? HTML forms is very important concept in HTML. Let's look at this client server architecture. So basically you take any of the web applications. So most of the websites or the web applications will have forms available in their websites. Take a gmail.com or take any kind of web application. They should definitely have a login and registration forms. So basically how does the login and registration forms are going to work? First a user is going to register in their website. Those details are going to be sent to the server, and when they perform a login operation they're going to validate using the values present in the registration form. So this is how a typical client server architecture is going to work. So almost all the websites are going to have forms available in their websites. Now, so how do we create those forms is the question, right? So let's try to create a project. So these are our previous projects. Let me open Notepad++. Okay, so these are now let me create a new project. I'm going to open close with HTML. So far we have covered almost all the concepts in HTML, and today we are going to cover HTML forms. Let me have a body, and let me keep heading forms. I'm going to close this and I'm going to save it with HTML forms.html. Okay, that's great. Now let me open this in the browser, HTML forms, and I'm going to open it with Google Chrome. Great. Now how do we create a form is the question, right? Now to create a form we need to use an element called form, and it has to be closed with the form. So now I've added an element called form. Okay, let me increase the view zoom in, control number plus control. Okay, that's great. I think this is proper. Now check. So this is working fine. So now look at this. I've added form, but I'm just saving this and I'm going to refresh it. So nothing is there because we have added a form element, but we haven't added any information inside that form. So let me try to keep our first element so I'm going to keep something inside the element. So to keep something inside the element you need to use an element called input. So if you keep an element called input, let me keep an element input and let me save this and refresh it. Something has added. So something is there inside our form. Now almost all the different elements which we see inside a form can be created using an input. Now look at here. Input accepts different parameters. Sorry, input accepts different attributes. One such attribute is type. So type is very important because based on the values which you provide to the type attribute, input is going to change drastically. Now look at this. So I'm going to provide the type as text. So that means this element is of type that means this element is of type text. So that means you can add all text inside this element. You can add text. So look at this. Now let me keep a paragraph on top of this saying name. I'll say name. Okay, now if you look at this, see name, and below we have name, and below we have an input type, a text input, which is basically a text input. Now Now you can add text here. You can add Suresh because Suresh is my first name, other name. Now this is how you will, so this is how you will provide input of type text. Now if you look at here, we have given paragraph, but we should not use this. I'm going to talk about this in some time. Now let me create some other types. Let me keep input type as, so here I'm going to give some other value to this attribute type. So I'm going to give something called radio. So what does a radio will do? Radio is going to provide, close this. So radio is going to provide the radio button. Just look at this. So it is providing a radio button. So if you look at any form which has a gender, there will be a radio buttons. Okay, so it's basically a single selection, right? Now let me give in the paragraph gender. Okay, now look at here. So it came down. So now let me give male in front of this. Okay, now look at this, right? You are getting that feeling of forms. Now as I said earlier, we should not use paragraph, or we should not use paragraphs for this text inside a forms, because now if you look at this input type radio, right, we have male. So if I click on male, basically it should select, let me refresh it. So if I click on male, I should, then also it should select the radio button, but this is not happening here because there is no relation between this text and this input. So because of these all issues, we should use something called a label. So using label you can, using label you can combine the input elements and the text. So now for example, if you look at, so instead of this paragraph I am going to, now instead of this paragraph I am going to write label, and label I am going to give first name. This is my label. So followed by I have an input, and let me remove this gender. Okay, so now for the gender I am just going to keep it in paragraph itself because it's just an heading. But for the male, okay, for the male, after this radio button or before the, okay, let me keep it before the radio button, I have to definitely use a label. Okay, so label followed by male, and I'm going to close this label. Okay, now if you look at the code, if I refresh it, look at this. So this is our first name, and we have input, and we have a corresponding input for the first name. So after the first name I'm going to give a break now. Okay, I have given a break so that it come down, and after that I have a gender, below that I have male, and let me keep for female also. Now I'm going to keep for female also. Okay, now if you look at here, this is for the male and this is for the female. So now you can ask me, so what will happen if I click on male text? Does this radio button will get selected? I'm going to click on this. No, this is not getting selected because we haven't provided a link between the input and a label. So now how do we provide a link? So to provide a link, first of all you need to provide an ID for the input. So how do you provide an ID? And here you can provide, since this is for the male, I'm going to provide a male. It can be anything. You can provide any ID which should uniquely identify this input. Now you have provided ID. Now you should use the same ID to link to this label. So here under the label which accepts an attribute called label fur, and here under fur you have to use the ID which you have provided to input. You have given to male. Now if I refresh it, now let me click on male. Look at this. When I click on male, the radio button got selected because now we have provided a relation between the label and a radio button. So that's why I always insist you guys to use the labels always inside a form. Now even for the input type first name, even for the input type text. Okay, so now if you look at here, for the first name we have added the label, and for the gender also we have added the label. So here we looked at input type text, and then we looked at input type radio. Similarly, if there are few more things available, such as similarly there are few more input types available. um, okay, let me provide a break here. Okay, so now I'm going to use an input type submit. So submit, when you say submit, it is going to give a button. See, it has given a button. So now whenever you use a submit, it is going to provide you a button. Now look at this, it has provided a button. So by default it is going to be a submit button, and if you want to change that, you have to use something called value. So to provide an external value, let's say login. So now it should change to login. Look at this, it has changed to login. So this is how you can develop forms inside an HTML. So now let's look at our presentation. So this is our typical client server architecture, right? Websites can have the forms, and those forms are going to be sent to the server. Now, so this is one sample form, right? You take a look at any of the websites, they will have a login form with email ID and the email ID and the password, and there will be a submit and the reset button. Now let us try to design the same. Now let us try to design the same form. Okay, so now let me try to remove all this stuff. Should I remove? Okay, this is not useful. You just have to remember that we have an input type text, and we have an input type radio to provide the radio buttons, text to provide the text data, submit to provide any button, to provide submit button. Now I'm going to close this form, and let me try to create from the beginning. Okay, so now I don't have anything, so now I have to provide email, password, submit button, and then reset button. So first I'll try to provide all the elements which are inside this login box. Okay, after that I'm going to provide this login. Okay, so to provide a form, so to create a form, what to do? So you have to open the form, and then you have to close the form, and inside that you have input types. So for the first one, input type is text, but which is basically a email ID, right? Um, for the emails, you can provide, and for the emails you can provide one value, which is, so earlier, to provide any text, so basically email is also text, but email has some proper meaning, so it has to be end with a particular domain .com @ so there should be @ always inside a email, right? So if you look at my email ID, say tech.sureshadam at gmail.com, so it has to be in this way, right? There should be @ symbol, and there should be a domain, right? So to validate all this stuff, to provide an input type as an email, you have to provide a value inside a type attribute as email. So when you provide the value of type as email, it is going to become an input which is of type email. Okay, so now let me close this. Right now let me provide, then what should I provide? So there is some, now if you look at here, there is some text inside this form, or inside this element, which is called email ID. So how do I provide that? So I can provide that using an attribute called placeholder. So placeholder is the text which will be displayed inside an element. So how do I provide email ID? So when I say email ID, it is going to be displayed. Now let me refresh it. Look at this email ID, right? So here you can use any text, and which should, and it would be, and it should be proper email ID. Now, so this is how you will provide, email ID. So next, what to provide? You have to provide the password, right? Now input type is equal to, so instead of text you can provide password. So what will happen if you provide text? Let me check. And the placeholder we know already, I am going to give it as password. I am going to give it as password. Now if I refresh it, look at this. So it is going to be, so it is going to come next to, it is going to be displayed next to the email ID. It's because the input type, it's because the input type is an inline element, it's not a block element. So that's why you need to provide a break. That's why you need to provide a break. Now if you look at this, they're just looking like overlapped. So now let me give another break. Okay, I've given another break. Now if you look at this, this is looking little better. Now email id I am entering asdf.gmail.com, something like that I am giving, and password when I type, no, it is password should not be visible. So when I enter something, it has to change to star. To do that, you have to provide the type value as password. When you provide the type value as password, now if you look at this, you can provide Suresh at gmail.com, and for the password when I enter, look at this, it's changing to star symbol. So this is how you will deal with HTML, email ID and the password. So to provide an email ID, the input type value should be email, and to provide a password, the input type value should be password. And now let's try to provide submit and reset. We know how to provide submit and reset buttons. Okay, let me give some breaks here. Okay, now input type as submit, and the value I am giving, because by default it would be displayed as submit, but I am going to change that to login, and I have removed it, and input type, and I am giving submit. Sorry, here the input type, the next one is for the reset, and I am giving it as reset. Now let's look at the code. Look at this. So what would happen now? Let me enter some data. Let me click on login. Now if you look at here, please include at the rate. What is saying, please include at the rate, because this is an email field. Okay, since we have provided the input type as email, when you click on login, it is going to validate the form. For example, if I provide text here, okay, and I'm just saving this and I'm going to refresh it. Now if I enter something and I say login, nothing is happening here, because we have given type as text, and it is accepting it. So that's why it's, so you should always, so if you, that's why if you are dealing with an email field, you should always give the type value as email. Okay, now if you look at this, I'm going to refresh it. Now if you look at this, enter something, just look at this, so it is going to validate the email field. Similarly for a password, you need to provide the input type as password. Now if you look at this, I have entered something. When you click on reset, it is going to reset the values, because we have given the input type as reset. That's why it is going to reset all the, fields which are part of this form. Now we are done with the email. So now we are done with the email and then the password and then submit and reset. Now let me try to provide this box around this form. So to provide a box, you need to group all these fields inside this form. So to group all the fields inside a form, you have another. So to now group all the fields inside a form, you have another element called field set. So you have to, so you can group, all the elements or all the fields inside a form using an element called field set. So now let me refresh it. Look at this. So when you group them, when you embed them, or when you wrap them, all the form elements or all the form fields inside a form with a field set, it is going to group and it is going to provide a box. Now what do we do? I don't want this box. Now it is going to provide a box around the form. Right, now it is going to provide the box around the fields. Now let me try to keep the caption. To provide a caption around this field set, okay, you have to use an element called legend. So if you provide legend as login form, okay, and the legend name is the login form is what you have created, and this legend element should always be the first element inside your field set. Now let me refresh it. Look at this. So you have got a beautiful login form. Okay, but this login form is stretching till end, because this is a block level element. That's why it is stretching till end. So let me provide some style. So I am going to style this form as style, and I'm going to give width as 50%. So when I give width as 50%, it has to be 50% of this computer width. Now look at this. Right, so this is how you will create the HTML forms, and this is a basic simple login form which we have created here with a basic email field and a password field, and with two buttons, one is login and the reset. Now let me go back to the presentation. Now what is an action, or what is a target and method attributes, is what we are going to look now. So now we are we are good with creating the forms. Now what does, so we have created the form is fine. Now if you look at the client server architecture, you are here, so you have created a form, but who is going to send that file to the server? How do you send that, the data which is entered by a client or which is entered by a user, to a server? How do you collect that data from a form, and how do you pass it to a server is the question. Now to send that data, you have to use some other language which is called PHP. So this is, which is a server side scripting language. Now if you look at this code, so this is our form, so which is from here to here, and when you say submit, it is and when you say submit, it has to collect the information in the email field and the information in the password field, and which has to send to the server. Now how do you do that? Now as I said earlier, there should be a PHP program, or there should be some program which should pass these values to the server. So to do this operation, right, you should use one attribute inside your form element called action. Now this action attribute is going to define, so this action attribute will define the action to be performed when the form is submitted. That means, for example, when I click on submit, what should happen, right? So as I said earlier, there should be a PHP program which is a server side program which we will write to send the information from our page to the server. So here under this action, you have to provide that file name. Here under this action, for example, you have created another file called login.php. For example, you have that login.php. Okay, so which is just consider that login.php is collecting data from your email and password field, and it is sending the information to the server. So now here under your action attribute, you have to provide that file. So whenever you click on submit, this action, whatever you provide inside this is going to be executed, and from there onwards, the data is going to send to the server. So that's the use of the action attribute. Now for example, if you omit this action, that means if you have forgot to keep this action, what is going to happen? When you click on submit, the action is going to be taken on the current page itself. So that means it's not going to send to this page, right? It's not going to send to this page. It's going to be applied to the same page, and nothing is going to happen. Now just for understanding, let me try to keep our other HTML files which we have created earlier. So let me try to give entities.html which we have created in our previous tutorial. Now if I refresh it, now if you do this, look at this. So that means it's navigate into the entities. So what is happening here, whenever I'm clicking on a submit, it is trying to open the file which is there in the action attributes. So that's why I'm just telling, so that's what I'm telling here. So whatever you will give under your action, that is going to be performed upon clicking this submit button. So what's your goal? You have to submit these values to the server. You just need to provide the server side scripting here. So it can be a PHP file, or it can be some other server side scripting file. So you just need to provide that as a action value. Okay, now I'm going to change this as login.php. So here we haven't worked on the login.php, but I'm just telling as a simple example. Okay, so this that's the use of this action. And similarly, the target attribute which we had seen in our previous tutorial when we worked with the hyperlinks, right? So target, what is the use of target? So when you say target, the result, the target accepts different values such as underscore self and underscore blank, which is to open the page in a new tab. Similarly, it has underscore top and underscore parent, which we discussed in our iframe section. Now under the target, if I provide blank, okay, what will happen? So the result is going to be sent to a new tab. So that's the use of the target. Okay, now if you look at this, if I click on login, see it is opening the login.php, which is not developed by us, which is not created by us so far. So that's why. But but the main point here is it is navigating to a new tab. So that's what we need to look here, because we are working on the target. Now similarly, so there is one more thing called a method. So there is one more attribute for a form is method. So to this method you can pass two values, one is get and one is post. So when to use get and when to use post. So basically this method attribute specifies the HTTP method. It can be a get or post, and the default HTTP method when submitting the form is get. So as I said earlier, if you don't specify the method, so that means if you don't specify the method, by default the value of method would be get. And when you use a get, the form data is going to be visible in the address field. So that means, for example, if you look at here, so you have added some data here and you had some data here, and go to the login page. Okay, and it has to be, see, it's validating here. That's the best part. Now if you click on login, okay, when you click on login, and if you would have written the code properly for your login.php, and since you are using method value as get, okay, so now let me type again mail.com and password as something. When you click on login, it goes to login page, and whenever you uses the method value as get, okay, method value as get, you could able to see your values under here, under this address field, which is basically which is basically not a good practice when you use confidential information. That's why, so when you use a get, it is going to append the form data to the URL as a name value pairs. And that's why that's why we should never use get when you send a sensitive data, which is sensitive data is basically, I mean, secure data, right? Confidential data, you should never use method value as get. And when to use post, your form has sensitive information which is very much confidential, you should always use post. And the post method does not display the form data in the page address here, so it is not going to display your form data in the address field. So that's why if you are working with a confidential data, you should always use method value as the post. Okay, so that's all about the different attributes which are part of your form. So form will accept some styles, basically if you want to style your form, and basically and and it takes another attribute called an action, which will have a file which take care of the action what you need to perform upon clicking the login button or submit button, whatever it is. And similarly, if you want your output to be in a new tab, you can use the target, and as per your requirement you can use self, you can use top and parent. And finally the method attribute is going to accept two values such as get and post. If you are dealing with a sensitive information, always go with the post. Okay, so that's all about form attributes. Now let me go back to our tutorials. So this is what we looked at, and we have designed this form. So these are all about action, target, and the method attributes. And let us try to develop this form, so which has a name and which has a phone number and which has a gender with male and female, and it has a date of birth, and then it has something called social media platforms here. Okay, so this has some check boxes, and finally it has a button, submit button. Now we are good with this form, right? Now we have form from here to here. Okay, so now let me comment this form as login form. So comments are useful to provide the information about what you are writing inside your program. Now let me create a new program. Sorry, now let me create a new form. Okay, I am going to keep a new form, and as I said earlier, it has to be the input which is of type. What is our first field? The first field is a name. Okay, so I'm going to give the type as text. This is working fine. I'm going to give the type as text, and I'm going to close this input field. Okay, let me provide the placeholder as name. Now let me give the placeholder as name. Okay, now let me refresh our project. Now look at this is beautiful, but I need name on top of this, right? I need name. So to provide that, you have to use label, never use paragraph, or never keep directly. Okay, so I mean, if you want to provide a link or relation between these two, okay, just give name followed by close. Okay, this is how it works. Now let me refresh it. Okay, now let me provide some break. Okay, I'm going to refresh it. So this is how it looks. Let me provide another break so that it looks bit clear. Right, name and then this. The next one is phone number. Okay, so here basically there is no gap between this name and this name field, so I'm going to remove one more break here. Okay, that's great. Let's check it. Fine. So the next one is phone number. Now to provide the phone number, first let me give the label as phone number and to give single break so that it come down, and I'm going to give the input type as, just guess the input type as tel. The value should be tel, which is a short for telephone number, and I'm going to give the placeholder as phone number. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Now let me refresh it. Look at this. Okay, so I should provide some breaks. Okay, here I have forgot to provide the break. Now if you look at this is how. Let me provide another break. Now look at this, name, phone number, and next one is radio buttons, gender and then radio buttons, right? Now let me provide. So here if you look at this gender, I'm going to keep it in a label. I'm going to keep it in a, so I'm going to close this. So I'm done with the gender. So before that I have to provide some breaks here. So let me provide two breaks. Okay, I have the gender, so now I have to give two radio buttons to provide a radio button. And before providing the radio button, I think we need to give, yeah, first is radio button, and after gender there is no space, right? Okay, that's great. I'm going to provide input type as radio. Oh sorry, so input type as radio. That's great. Input type as radio and followed by a label, and it should be name. And to provide a relation between this label and the input type, so I have to use label for, and you have to use the same ID which is there for this. So here I am going to give the ID as male because the first one is the male, so and I have to use the same ID here, so that whenever you use the same ID in the input and your label, so it's basically this is readable. If you look at this label and this label for what, this label for this input, okay, this label for this input. Okay, so this is how we provide a link. Now if you refresh it, right, gender and then male. Now so similarly provide. Now if you look at this, if you click on male text also, it is going to be okay. Now if you click on text also, it is going to be selected. Now let me provide, should I provide a break? No, I'm not going to provide any break. Now I'm going to just copy paste. I'm going to change the ID and the fur. Now if you look at this, and here I think I have to change to female. Now if you look at this, right, gender, when you click on gender, nothing is going to happen because we haven't linked this gender text to anything. Now we have a male and then we have a female. That's great. And next you need to provide a date of birth. Okay, to provide a date of birth, you have another input type which of type date of birth. I'm going to show that input type as So here I'm going to give the input type as date. Okay, date. Okay, I'm going to close this, date of birth. So let me keep it in label itself, because so that it provides some consistency. Door closing. Okay, so now let me provide the date of birth field. Okay, so we have a gender, male and female. So now let me provide a date of birth. So to provide a date of birth, you have to use something called input type as date. So which will give a date field for us. Now let me give an ID. It's all your choice if you want to work with. Okay, so now let me close this, and before closing this, let me give a label. Okay, I'm going to give date of birth. Okay, now let's check. I'm going to refresh it. Look at this. Okay, so let me provide a break just below the form. Sorry, below the female, right? Okay, here I'm going to provide a break. Let me provide two breaks. Okay, now if you refresh it, see, look at this. Now using which you can provide the dates. Let me give June 1st, and I'm going to change it to 1994. So this is how you should deal with date of birth. And the next one is the check boxes. The next one is the check boxes. So check boxes are basically multiple selection kind of stuff, right? Now let me provide the check boxes. To provide the check box, you just need to, I'm going to give the two breaks so that it displays better. Now you give the input type as okay. Now you just need to provide the input type as check box. I think we just need to give check. I forgot. Let me try. No, I think it's checkbox. Let me give checkbox. Yes, correct. So we have to use input type as checkbox. Okay, and now let's look at the presentation. We have something called Facebook, Twitter, and the Instagram. Okay, let me give that. So the label should be Facebook. I'm going to close the label, and this label is for what? This label is for Facebook. Okay, so I have to give the ID as Facebook, and the label is for the same ID here you have to give, which is Facebook. Now if you look at it, now if I click on Facebook, it is going to be selected. So that's the use of the label. Okay, so before that I have something called what social media platforms you are active in. Okay, let me try to give that text also. So that I have to give here. So that text I have to give here, which is I'm going to give it in a label, not a problem. What social media platforms you are active in. Okay, what social media platforms you are active in is the question, and I'm going to close this label. Okay, now if you look at the present, now if you look at this, okay, so let me give a break. Okay, now it looks something like this. Okay, so now let me give another break. Look at this, that's great, right? Now we are working with HTML input types of type checkbox. So the next one is Twitter, and the next one is Instagram. Now if you guys know about it, just do it. Facebook and then Twitter, and the same you have to use it here, and it has to be Twitter. Right, now let me let me copy paste the same, and I'm going to give Instagram, and the same I am using it as a ID, and here for the name I am going to use Instagram. Now if you look at our website, that's great. What social media platforms are you active in? I am active in Instagram, I am active in Twitter, and I am active in Facebook. I can do anything. So if you look at this, so this is how it works, and you can provide the these all things. Do we have anything else? And finally we have a submit button. Now let me provide some submit button just before this, right? Now that's to provide a submit button, and you have to use input type as submit. That's it. To close this. Now if you look at, okay, let me give a break. Now if you look at this, okay, let me give another break. Now I have provided another break. Now look at this. That's awesome. Now we are almost done with the inside part. Now let me provide a field set and a legend for this. Okay, to provide a field set, you have to look at the form. Okay, so provide a field set for the fields what you want to group. Okay, and I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste this at the end, and I'm going to close this field set, and the legend should be the first element after, and the legend should be first element inside your field set. Let me say legend. I'm going to give user information. Okay, legend. Okay, now if you look at this, that's very beautiful. And now let me give some style for this. Okay, now the style width I'm going to give 50%. That's great, right? That's how it works. Now here for this form we have used the same style, and for the above form, where is this form? So for this form also we have used the same style. So now I'm going to keep these two styles inside internal style sheets. Okay, so if you don't know about internal style sheeting, just go to CSS styles concept, you can learn it there. Okay, now I'm going to give it to the form. So this is how you provide internal style setting, and I'm going to give width as 50%. Now so that I can remove the style from here and even from this form. See, this is how you can reduce the code using CSS style sheets. Now if you look at this works. Now if you change anything, for example, if you provide a background color, let me give a tomato color. Okay, so what happens, since we have it under our internal style setting, if you change at one place, it is going to affect everywhere. Now if you look at this, so this is how it looks like, right? Now let me give some color using RGB, which we have learned earlier, right? So we have to provide red color, and then red, green, and then some blue color. Okay, now if you look at this, so this is how it looks like. And you can provide color for, and you can provide some alpha value also, which varies from 0 to 1. So let me provide 0.2. right? So this is a beautiful form, right? So this is how you will create the forms in HTML. Now let me go back to our presentation. So this and this we have completed, and this is another form, right? If you look at this form, so if you look at this form, you have a radio button which we have worked already, and you have something called a select here. So now let me try to use that, and then here you have a multiple selection, and here you have some other element, and this is for the color picker, and this is to choose the file, and finally here you have some other fields. Now let me try to create this form also, so that you will get to understand about all the different elements which are part of your form. Okay, so now let me try to create other information form. Okay, so now from here I'm going to create another form. Okay, so now if you guys are familiar with the forms already, just try to create the radio buttons. Okay, so now since we have already worked on this, right, since anyway I will create it again, not a problem. So what I will do, this is for, are you interested in web designing? Do we have the similar one already? We have it for the gender, male and female. Anyway, I'm not going to take it from there. I'm going to create it from the beginning. It's not a problem. So I have, are you interested in web designing? So the first label should be, are you interested in one? Are you interested in web designing? Is the first label. Okay, and I'm going to provide breaks. Now below that I should have yes, no. Okay, great. Let me provide that. So first is what? Radio button. Okay. So I'm going to give input type as radio, and I'm going to give ID as yes, and I'm going to use a label for what? This is for S. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to close label. Alright, that's it. I think that's done. Let me check it. Look at this. So are you interested in the web designing? Yes, yes. So similarly for the no, you just need to copy this and just paste, change it to no, and here also the ID you have to change it to no. Now if you look at this, right, you have S and you have no. So no is not working. Yes, no is not working because here you have to change the for to no, and since you have the same ID here, now it has to work. Yes, it's working now. And the next one is choose your country. So this is another type of element, so which is called a select. Now this is called a select element. So now to provide this selection, you should not use an input. So till now almost we have covered, not almost, but we have covered the input type. So now to provide an element with the selection kind of stuff. Okay, so you have another element called select. Okay, so you have to open, and then let me close this selection, and inside that you have to provide all the different options available. So if you look at this code here, choose your country, which will have the different values such as India, Bangladesh, Australia, South Africa. So they're all part of different countries. So now those countries you have to add as an option. So now to this option I am going to give the different options for the country. Okay, now I'm going to close this. Okay, now if you look at the project, look at this, we have got something called India, right? We have got the multiple selection. This is working fine. So let me try to provide few more. Okay, so now I have provided few more. Now if you look at this, oh sorry, what happened? Now if you look at this, so we have got something, so we have got different values. So now let me change it to Australia. Okay, so I have changed it to Australia, and similarly I'm going to change it to Bangladesh. Okay, now if you look at, if I refresh it, just refresh it. Now if you look at this, so this is the since here if you look at the code, we are at the bottom of the page. So since we don't have space available, that's why it is displaying on the top. In case if there is space available in the bottom, it would display in the down. So for that, if you want to check that, let's do one thing. So now let me try to comment out this form. Okay, so I am going to comment till here. Okay, now if you look at this, see it is displaying in the down. So this is how it works. Now let me go to the presentation. So it has to be choose your country. Okay, so now I am going to give that just below the select statement, and here I am going to provide some breaks, and here I am going to give a label choose your country. Okay, I am going to close label. Okay, now let me provide a break after this. Now if you look at this, so you have got properly. So choose your country and you are going to choose it as India. So now here in this section, so I have to tell something. So now for example there are a few more, and okay, you have many. Okay, let me change it to some other values. You have Bangladesh here, let me change it to America, and here you let me change it to South Africa. Okay, and instead of Australia I'm going to change it to um, Australia, India. Let me change it to Canada. Let me change it to Indonesia. Okay, so now these are the different options available. So now if you click on that, they are going to be displayed. So now if you want some particular option to be selected by default, right? So then you can use some property or an attribute inside your option. As for example, if you want to select Australia by default, you have to say select. Now if you look at this, okay, I'm going to refresh it. So by default it is India. Now if I want to refresh it, okay, it has to change. I think this is something different. Okay, it's not actually select, it is selected. So you are making it as selected and it's not select. Now if you look at this, so by default it is going to be selected for us. So that's how you should deal with. For example, if you have 10 or 20 items, 20 options inside your select statement, if you want some particular option to be selected as a default value, then you should give a property inside the option element as selected. When you say selected, it is going to be selected by default. If you look at here, so you have how many elements? You have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So you have 7 and the 7 are going to be displayed here. But if you don't want 7, if you want first 3, so how do you do that? So your select element you can pass some property called, sorry, to you can pass some attribute called size. So if you provide 4 here, okay, so total 6 are there here, but it is going to display. For example, I haven't refreshed it. Now if you look at, there are 6. Now if I refresh it, because I have saved it there, now if I refresh it there, now look at it. So it's going to display only, it is going to display only uh, 1 2 3 4. Okay, it's displaying all. Why it has to display size 4? Okay, so the size 4 is going to display 4 values instead of displaying one value, right? It is going to display 4 values. It's not like it is going to display first 4. Sorry for that. It will display first 4 values, and it will add a scroll bar for us so that we can scroll. Okay, so that's the use of size. So size attribute is going to specify the number of visible values. Now if you look at this, so these are the number of visible values. For example, if you want 6 to be visible, okay, what you can do? So now 6 are visible. So that is the use of the size attribute on the select statement or the select element. Now if you look at here, this is a single selection, right? If you look at this, this is a single selection. I can select only one at a time. Now if you look at our presentation here, the next one, select what all languages you know. So you can know more than one language. So at that time you have to use a select statement with multiple selection. You should deal with the multiple selection. So for that, let me write another select statement. Okay, so let me give another select statement. So before that I'm going to give another label. So now before that I'm going to give another label, and I'm going to name it as select what all languages you know. Okay, select what all languages you know. Okay, I'm going to close it and I'm going to provide some breaks. Okay, so inside that, okay, sorry, I haven't created the select data. So let me provide the select. Inside that I have to provide the options. So a few options such as Java, Java. Okay, now let me copy paste Java, C, C++. Let me give Android. Okay, this is all fine. Now if you look at the project, look at this. Okay, okay, let me provide a break here. After this select, I'm going to provide few breaks. Now if you look at this, okay, this select, I'm going to give 3, refresh it. Now if you look at this code, so you have a selection statement. Okay, so now you can able to select only one, but I don't want this, so I want a multiple selection. Here to provide a multiple selection, you have to pass a property to the select element, which is multiple. So when you say multiple, okay, you can select multiple, you can select multiple values. Now if you click on this, now just press control and you press another element. See, I have pressed Android, CSS, Java. So this is how you should deal with multiple selection inside your HTML. Okay, so to make a select element to be a multiple selection, you just need to pass a value called, or a property called multiple. If you pass multiple, it is going to be a multiple selection. Okay, now let me go back. So and then you have something called what are your hobbies, and the next one is what are your hobbies. So let me add this. Okay, so inside this itself I'm going to add the next label as what are your hobbies. I'm going to close this, and let me provide some breaks to the previous select statement. Okay, and here also I'm going to provide a break. Now here under, so this field which is off, which is this field is actually a data list. So data list element is going to specify the list of predefined options. For example, what are your hobbies is basically many people are going to have the same kind of hobbies. For example, reading books, watching movies, playing sports. So these are all the different common hobbies available for. So in this case, for example, whenever user tries to add reading books as their hobby, so whenever they type R, I want to populate some default values. For example, reading books. When they type R, I want to populate reading books. So at that time you should use one more element called data list. Okay, so we have one more element called, data list. Okay, so now to provide that, you have to use something called data list. Okay, and inside this list, okay, let me close this. Okay, so inside this list you have to provide the different options available for. So inside this you have to provide the different options, which are basically the predefined options, right? So which are basically the predefined option. So which are basically the predefined options. So let me give option value as I said earlier, let me give reading books. So in this way you can populate some predefined values. Okay, so the next hobby would be reading books is done, playing sports, and say watching movies, and similarly my hobby is cooking. So these are the different predefined options available, so that's why you need to keep them under data list. Now if you look at the project, will it work? I think it will not work because I know that it will not work. Now if you look at this, nothing is added because once you provide a data list, okay, you have to create an input, and you have to link this data list with that input element. Now to do that, you have to provide an input, and here you have to provide a list, and to this list you have to pass the ID of your data list. For example, you say hobbies. So this is the ID which I have given to this data list, and this ID you have to use under list attribute of your input. Now if you look at this, it will give you the values. Now when you just click on the input itself, it is going to provide you the predefined values. Now if you say R, okay, now when you say R, it has filtered with two values because in these two values it found R. In the first item, reading books, we have R. In the second and in the second item, at the sports, we have R. That's why it has filtered with R. So that's the use of the data list. So the data list element is going to specify the list of predefined options for an input element. Okay, so this is what we have learned here. So now the next one is, what is your favorite color? The next one is this one, what is your favorite color, which is actually a palette. Okay, to do this you have another input. Okay, let me provide some breaks here. Now let me give input type as color. Okay, I'm going to close this input. Now if I refresh, let's check whether it is going to work or not. Yes, it is displaying. Now if you click on this, it is going to open it, and you have an option to select different colors. Okay, right. So this is how you will deal with the colors. So you just need to add what is your favorite color text, which you know already, so I am going to leave that. And finally we have something called choose file, which is to select the file. To provide that, you have input type as file. So that's why input is very important. So you just need to change the value of the type as per your requirement. Okay, now if I refresh it, look at this choose file. So when I click on choose file, it is going to open, and when I click on choose file, it is going to open the file explorer. So this all works fine. And the next one is enter debit code and the debit card. So here, for the debit card validity, the debit card validity will have a month and then year. It will not have a day. It will not have a day, right? It will have a month and a year. So to provide only month and a year, you have another type, which is basically input type of, you just say month. So when you just say month, okay, let's check it. Look at this. Okay, so here you have the month and you have the year. You don't have a day. So for example, even if you see, you can't select a single day here. You can select only the month. Now you can select June and then just select it. So this is how you can deal with. So previously we looked at date of birth, where we have used the input value as date, which has given day, month and year. So whereas this is another element, or that another input type value of month, which will provide only month and year. So similarly, there are many number of input types, or the input there are many number of input types available in HTML. You just need to experiment all those stuff. So here in this HTML lesson, I have provided very basic things, the basic mostly used form elements. I have provided mostly used elements. So finally, let's deal with our feedback form, so that we are in a so that okay, so now let me finally create a feedback. So feedback, if you look at this, it has multiple rows. Right? It's not a single row. See, if I say input type as text, it is going to provide me a single row. But if you want to provide more rows and the columns, you have something called text area. Okay, you have something called text area. Now if you look at this, this it will display. Okay, so let me provide some break. Now let me provide some breaks. I have provided 2 breaks here. Now if you look at this, so this is a display. So by default, it is going to display 2 rows. There are 2 rows here, and it has some columns. So if you want to give more numbers, I mean, if you want to change, or if you want to modify the rows and columns, you just need to say rows, give the number of rows. For example, you want 10 rows. Now if I save this and refresh it, now look at this. So this much big it is. And now try to give columns. Let me give 60 columns. Now if you give 60 columns, it goes still here. So here you can give some placeholder. Give the placeholder as, give your valuable comments. Now if you look at this, right, so this is how you can deal with all the HTML forms available. Okay, now let me go back to the presentation. now. So these are the different forms which we had seen today: input, select, text area, button, field set, legend, data list. We have covered all these elements. So these are the different elements available. Now the input types. So we looked at input type. So we looked at input type button, we looked at input type checkbox, color we looked at, date also we looked at. And if you want date and time, okay, then you can use an input type called date time local. Similarly, email we looked at, file we looked at, hidden is also an another element you can hidden is also another value you can provide to a type element. If you want an element to be hidden, you can use this. Similarly for an image. So there are different types you can there are different types of inputs available. You just need to you just need to experiment them. So what you can do is just keep some 10 or 20 input elements and just use all these different type values provided here and just check it from your side. Okay, so these are the different input types available. Similarly, these are the input attributes. So these are the different input attributes. For example, when you look at a form element, we tried to kept a value attribute. For example, for our input type submit, we have provided a value. So when you have provided the value, the input, the using the value attribute, you can change the so using that value, we have changed the display the we have changed the display value for the login button. And similarly, there are some other attributes available. For example, if for example, let's look at this. Let me work with this read only attribute which is available here, right? So this is our read only attribute. So let me go back to the coding. So here, if we look at this, okay, so you will have email here. For example, if you want to make any particular element to be read only, that means you can't write anything inside that. So for that you can provide, this is our email, right? So for that you can provide an attribute called read only. So if you pass read only, okay, so if you pass read only, and let me refresh it. Now look at this. So I am entering the data. Now if you look at here, I am entering the data. Okay, I am entering the data, but it is not entering because it is not allowing us. Since we have made it as read only, it will not allow us. It's just a read only input field. So similarly, there are some other attributes you can disable, and you can change the size of the input type. And similarly, you can give some max length, and if it is a required field, you can change it to required. And if it is some autocomplete, you can do that. So similarly, there are different attributes available which you can look at. And similarly, these are the attributes for the form we looked at. So we haven't looked at many of them, but these are the different form attributes which you can look at. For example, if you want, so this we looked at, I think, the form method attribute, right? We have given the method attribute which is of get and post. Similarly, if you don't want any validation for your form, so you can provide no validate attribute. So these are the different form attributes available which we can use under a form, which we can use under the form element. So these are all about HTML forms. I think you have got a good idea about HTML forms. If you have any questions on HTML forms, please do comment in the comment section. I'm going to clarify at any time. So that's it for today. Please do subscribe to Suresh Text. Thank you so much.